Remember what I told you. If you ever feel lost, just look into the eyes of the podcast that loves you. It's Harmless Phosphorescence. Come, gather round, and listen to the legend of the Space Viking, a.k.a. the God of Thunder, a.k.a. your host, Thor Smiley. Who's joining me this week?
Hi, it's time for another classic Josh CC adventure.
Look at me gobbling up all your fruit. I'm Brian Lesh.
Usually I'm Alaric Weber, but today, I too am a space Viking. And my chosen weapon is this plush lightning bunny.
And this is...
I just remembered the tag from last. I hate my brain. It was, some people call me the space dolphin.
This is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's the podcast where we watch every theatrically released full-length live-action superhero movie ever made. We gather some research into the production and source material, and we tell you all about it. This has been a big week for me personally for space sea life. I don't know if any you guys watched The Mandalorian. We had space whales.
Purgles.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
I haven't yet.
Oh yeah, there's which were introduced in Rebels, but yeah. So this show is brought to you by our patrons like executive producers Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You want to be a patron too? Go over to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got lots of bonus content there. We've got Star Wars shows and holiday shows. We've got some music shows. And we have our monthly movie episodes. Last month, we did BMX Bandits. This month, in honor of St. Patty's Day, instead of... we were going to do Jack and Jill. That's getting pushed back a little. We're doing a holiday one this month. We're doing The Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun.
That's right. Leprechaun. And so that will be coming out this month. $1 a month is all you need, guys. $1 per month.
I mean, our monthly movies are great, guys. They really are fun. We've done some doozies.
Yeah. And there's I don't know how many now. There's dozens and dozens of them now at this point out there. So $1 a month, you get all of those. And a new one every month. This week, though, on Harmless Phosphorescence, we are watching Thor, Love, and Thunder.
Kids, get your popcorn out. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god. After saving planet Earth for the 500th time, Thor set off on a new journey. Well, he got in shape. He went from dad bod to god bod. And after all that, he reclaimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
Jane?
The old ex-girlfriend.
What's it been like? 3-4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
Am I sensing feelings?
Well, you're right. The only ones who gods care about is themselves. So this is my vow. All gods will die. I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
He's just my first bad guy.
You never forget your first. You are not like the other gods of kill. Because I have something worth fighting for.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise. And flick.
Oh, you flicked too hard, damn it!
Should we help him?
And eventually, grape.
Thor, Love and Thunder. It was released on July 8th, 2022. It has a running time of 119 minutes. It cost $250 million, and it made $761 million. So it got into profitability, but it wasn't like a runaway hit by Marvel standards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was less than a year ago. We remember how that it was met with, I don't want to say lukewarm responses by critics, but medium responses.
I feel like medium is a good word to describe the few problems that the movie has. I don't think it has a lot, but I think it's medium. I think there are times when the director was at about medium interest and the story is about medium. You know, the stakes seem high, but it's very boom, boom, boom.
It is.
Yeah,
I think some of that, I mean, Feige basically said we needed to come in under 2 hours. And so there's absolutely a ton of stuff that's on the cutting room floor. Gore himself probably fell to that more than anything in the film.
Well, and there's a ton of sequences with Jane Foster also.
Yeah, there was a bunch more Jane Foster into Jeff Goldblum, Peter Dinklage, and Lita Headey all got cut out of the movie completely. So, yeah,
and the lack of misadventures before the standoff. You know, usually there are some scrapes before then. This was like he's in the shadow realm. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which is fine.
Absolutely right. That second act, like fun and games, like we're going here, we're going there. It's all crazy. Like didn't really happen. It was like we are going here, we got that, we're down now, where it's over. Yeah,
that's over.
Absolutely. So like I said, 761, respectable. It's Marvel movies. Like if it had made any less, they probably would have been disappointed. And I think it's time we play the box office top 10 game. This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies of the week of July 8th, 2022. that distant shining golden shore, that city on the hill in which we once lived, of last summer. Yeah. So, number 10 was on our list previously. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is still hanging out in the top 10 and has been for like 4 months. That movie ended up making like what? It made over $100 million and cost like $4 million.
If that doesn't win a couple like higher level Oscars, if it does, I might have a little bit of respect for the Academy again.
This year I've watched 9 out of the 10 Best Picture nominees.
10.
Yeah, there's 10. There's 10 of those motherfuckers. I watched 9 of them, and that's absolutely my like top of the list. That's the one that I think it was the best movie of the year personally. Yeah. And yeah, even I mean, there's a ton of movies I saw that I think were better than many of the ones on the 10 nominees too. So that's a whole another conversation.
Right.
But
yeah.
But yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once absolutely deserves it. At number 9 at the box office, a young woman courts a mysterious wealthy suitor in 19th century England. That could be any movie ever.
Yeah, like, yes.
Let's see.
Anything Austin.
Starring, a bunch of people I have never heard of.
Brits.
Most of, they could all be British, who knows. Yeah, I have no idea. This is the first time I've ever heard of this movie. They are in costumes. It does seem to be cast with a blind racial eye. It is certainly not.
Oh, is it
accurate to upper crust British society of the 19th century?
right? Is it that remake of David Copperfield?
No. This is something I've never heard of.
Because there was an Indian dude that played David Copperfield.
Oh yeah. This is not a property I have ever been aware of. Maybe it was a book. I have no clue. It's called Mr. Malcolm's List. Oh, Mr. Malcolm and his list.
And his lists. That's son of a bitch.
At number 8 at the box office for the week of July 8th, 2022. There's no way to describe this one without giving it away. There's a young feller, and he's out for some. He's having some mishaps and adventures, perhaps, in his way to achieve his goals.
Bible goes west.
This is an Oscar-nominated film. It is currently Oscar-nominated. It stars Jenny Slate. It is animated.
Oh, Marcel the Shell?
Marcel the Shell with shoes on, yeah.
Wow. That came out just last year. I feel like that's been out for years.
I know.
It's nominated.
Yeah, nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, the Best Animated it's crazy. There's two stop motion films animated for Best Feature, and neither of them are made by what's his face, the only dude who's ever won an Oscar for stop motion animation, who did have a movie out last year for the first time in 15 years.
Isn't that like Henry Selick?
Henry Selick, yeah, Henry Selick.
That worked on the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, yeah, that dude. He had Wendell and Wild, first movie since Coraline, completely ignored. So weird. It was good. I liked it. It was a weird fucking movie. Wendell and Wild was a weird movie.
Let's check it.
Yeah, like there's stuff there that like, what the fuck is happening? What is this? Brian, I think you'd dig it too, honestly. Get high, watch it.
Wendell and Wild?
Wendell and Wild. It's on Netflix. Yeah. It stars Key and Peele.
Oh, well, I'm interested now.
And yeah, Jordan Peele produced it. But yeah. At number 7. While spending years attempting to return home, a marooned astronaut encounters an army of ruthless robots who are attempting to steal his fuel.
Wow.
Yes.
Buzz Lightyear?
Yes, Lightyear.
Oh.
Yeah, that 20 years ago, that movie would have made the world lose its mind. And now it's like, meh.
Yeah, it was a flop.
Uh-huh.
Big flop.
Yeah, it was just fine, I guess.
I didn't even see it. Yeah. I usually make it a point to like catch the Pixar movies that come out every year, but I did not see that one.
I don't know. It's interesting, I guess. Like the plot would have been really interesting 20 years ago. But in the sci-fi world we live in now, it was like 10 minutes into the movie, you could kind of call the plot out. It's a kid's movie. It's not for adults.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, okay, so it's one of those Pixar movies.
But it's made to feel like an adult movie for kids, you know, like the stakes are high and there's mystery.
I'm sure if my kids were like 7 or 8 years old, they'd love it.
Totally.
That's fine. That's good. We need movies that aren't for me. White, middle-aged American male.
I think that's the theme of today's show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. At number 6, After being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a
The
disconnected
black phone.
the black phone. Yep.
I thought a child killer. I thought there was a kid who was killing people that abducted somebody.
A problem child.
That's the movie that famously people, Gen Zers, were like, "Oh, it stars Maya Hawke's dad."
Yep.
Yep.
Is it just
And
me,
a
or
part
is
of
Joe
me-
Hill not very good for being Stephen King's son?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe
Keep
not.
trying.
Yeah.
Black Phone was not very. The show The Outsider was way better than that movie. Anyway.
Yeah. At number 5 this week. Huh. Okay. 4 years after the destruction of a scientific facility, corporate operatives attempt to track down a missing doctor while another doctor investigates a genetically engineered swarm of giant insects.
Is this
That is
Jurassic
not where
Park?
I thought that was
This
going.
is Dominion?
Jurassic World Dominion, yes.
God, giant insects. Give the people what they want.
Big bugs.
Prehistoric bugs.
Yeah, that's what we've been crying out for all these years.
Then they're in Jurassic World. That's about big bugs. Little
Yeah.
Yeah.
giant locusts.
Yeah. It's not what I wanted from that movie at all.
Oh, I'm so glad the Jurassic series is done. I hope it stays.
You
that
think
way.
it is?
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
they
it's
got
just
the entire
dinos.
cast back.
Yeah.
If they can keep bringing Transformers, they can keep bringing
That's like
dinos.
that fucking 65 movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
with Adam Driver
It's
in
just
it.
Adam Driver versus dinosaurs is the entire hook of the movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of down.
That sounds better than Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah. Adam Driver's got a gun and he's fighting dinosaurs. Okay.
Look at.
Number 4 this week. The first 2.5 hour trailer I've ever seen. It is nominated for Best Picture. Starring Tom Hanks.
He's in a movie right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you've seen it, Josh. You and I talked about it.
Oh, is it
this-
Elvis?
It's Elvis. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to guess Pinocchio, but this one's an equally weird
Yeah, so you know
Tom Hanks performance.
Yeah. So yeah, no, this is like how I've been describing it to people. You know how like at the beginning of Love and Thunder there's the montage where Thor's like getting into shape and there's like the voiceover? What if that was
Yeah.
the entire movie?
Yeah.
But it's Tom Hanks doing that weird voice, right?
Yes, doing
Yeah.
a weird Dutch accent from yeah. Number 3. Oh God, the student becomes the teacher, but also he's Tom Cruise.
Top Gun 4.
Ever.
The Top Gunnering.
No longer a bottom.
Bottom gun.
That's what they were playing for in that volleyball game.
Yeah. Their
Yeah.
sexuality, absolutely.
Woo. Okay. I saw an interview with Val Kilmer recently. It was about Maverick, but they started asking him about Batman, and he was like, I think James Gunn should bring back Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey into the new DC universe.
Wow.
I don't
Like,
disagree.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put him in.
Oh, my God.
I can't imagine Tommy Lee Jones putting on all that makeup now.
No.
Oh, I know. He's even more crotchety if that's possible.
Be like, I don't have time for that. He's reaching Harrison Ford levels of crotchety.
I was going to say, I think he might be more crotchety than Harrison Ford is.
I think
'cause
so.
Harrison
'Cause he
Ford's down
always
to be
was.
in television and kids' movies now.
I think I've realized the only thing Harrison Ford gets crotchety about is Star Wars.
Yeah, it's because it's all he heard about for 30 years of his life. And then he started crashing planes into things, and people started asking him about that too.
Yeah.
He just has resting grumpy old man faces and that voice. But especially lately, I've been seeing him on, because he's promoting things. Yeah, he seems to be very chill.
If you guys get a chance, check out Shrinking. It's incredible.
Yes, we've been watching it. It's really good.
So funny.
Yeah.
He's so good in it.
Yeah, he's really good in it. It's still hilarious that he told his agent it was the best script he had ever read. I was like, Shrinking.
Honestly, I think for him, though, that might be the most dramatic role he's had in a long time.
In a long time, absolutely. He hasn't got to play a guy in decades. He's always
like a normal person.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Yellowstone, but I have been watching 1923, which is like the prequel with he and Helen Mirren. It's pretty good. He's awesome as a ruthless rancher. Just hanging people.
I bet. Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. Harrison Ford. I at one point started just reading some of his 80s credits, all of because he just did movies. He just made movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
They weren't all Indiana Jones. And she was like, no, this is impossible. He's just Han Solo.
It's like, no, there's some hardcore presumed innocent fanboys out there. No, I agree.
No, there's some people out there who are like, Harrison Ford is my Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I saw a clip recently from the Graham Norton show with Harrison Ford and Cumberbatch. And Harrison Ford out of nowhere, he's like, oh, by the way, I just wanted to tell you I'm a really big fan. And Cumberbatch immediately looks like, he saw a ghost. He's like, huh? And Harrison Ford's like, Sherlock is amazing. And he gets even more like, what just happened? Did Indiana Jones just tell me that I'm amazing?
Yeah, no, I would literally fall down.
Yeah, he looked like he was slapped.
Yeah.
Smack, that's what they call it.
At number 2 this week at the box office top 10, The Untold Story of a 12-year-old's dream to become the world's greatest supervillain. I think this was the second, no, not 2022.
Isn't this a Despicable Me?
Minions, The Rise of Gru. A sequel to the spin-off of the Despicable Me franchise.
Haven't seen one of those either.
Oh, I had kids through the 2010s. I've seen a lot of them.
There's no reason why I haven't.
I've seen the memes.
No, there is.
I don't need
There's
to see
a reason.
the movie.
No, I mean, I love cartoons.
Yeah, no, they're not fine. They're fine. The boomer lady Facebook memes with the little yellow Tic Tacs are insufferable, but
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sexualized Twinkies is a little weird for me.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why did they speak to that age group?
I don't know. Why do the Lindas love them so much? And our number 1 movie of the week, Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and his ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. Stuart Little 3.
Babe. Big in space.
And that is the box office top 10 for the week. That does bring us to our character and comic book background. Al, Professor, please tell us the things we need to know.
All right. So, we've seen a lot of these characters. Of course, we've discussed Jane Foster before and mentioned her time as Thor. But there were a couple of, I looked back at my notes, there were a couple of noteworthy things I didn't cover before. Jane Foster was first seen as a Thor character named Thordis in What If number 10 in August of 1978. Jane was first seen as Thor in the canonical Marvel Universe in Thor Volume 4, number 1 in October of 2014, written by Jason Aaron and art by Russell Dauterman.
Wait, what? That's when Jane Foster? Or her as Lady Thor? Just Jane Foster.
No. Her as Thor.
Okay. I was like, what?
No, Jane Foster, she...
Way back when, right?
She was in like the second Thor story, and she's been around since.
Okay, thank you. Pardon.
Jason Aaron, the writer, asserted, "This is not She-Thor. This is not Lady Thor. This is not Thorita. This is Thor."
All right. Sorry.
Specifically the Mighty Thor.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, there was a comic book run with her that was titled The Mighty Thor.
Yeah, there have been other Thors.
That came out a little bit later. Previously, Thor had lost his worthiness and the ability to wield Mjolnir, making way for another worthy character to take the name and powers of Thor. It was not revealed until Thor Volume 4, number 8, that this Thor was indeed Jane Foster, who had been diagnosed with breast cancer and was undergoing therapy. At this time, she was also serving as representative of Midgard in the Congress of Worlds on Asgard. Wielding Mjolnir gave a weakened Jane the strength to fight as Thor. However, it also perpetuated her cancer. Each transformation into Thor purges all toxins from her body, including those used in her chemotherapy treatments.
That would have been a helpful little...
Yeah, I would have liked that clarification. I
had no problem with just like, it's draining my
life force.
Energy. My life force.
Yeah.
Yeah, I died from sadness once. I'm a little...
Oh my God, that reminds... So there was a... But no, I bet that was on the cutting room floor too. That little note was it was probably in there and it got cut out because of time. But
like the logic is astounding. That makes a lot of sense.
While they were making this, Taika Waititi inked the deal to write and direct a Star Wars movie during production of Love and Thunder. And Natalie Portman says that at one point he came up. This happened. He came up to her and he was like, yeah, I'm doing a Star Wars now. Do you want to be in a Star Wars movie? And she was like, I already was, Taika.
I am the mother of Luke Skywalker.
And he was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
So long ago.
Moving on now to Gore the God Butcher, created by Jason Aaron and Asad Ribic. First appeared in Thor, God of Thunder #1 in January of 2013. Gore has been described as one of Marvel's most notable and powerful male supervillains and one of Thor's greatest foes.
He's a cool character.
Gore was born on a nameless barren planet where earthquakes, lack of water, and wild animals are common. No gods helped his people, but they still trusted blindly in their faith. When Gore's mother, mate, and children are killed, he concludes the gods must not exist, a notion which leads to banishment from his tribe.
I'm sorry, barren planet with earthquakes, storms, and famine, and he's like, but that's where I'm like, whoa. God has left us.
When Gore somehow learns that gods do indeed exist, but did not help those in need, he vows to kill them all. He acquires All Black, the Necro Sword, from its creator Null. He first encounters a young Thor in medieval Iceland, nearly killing him, but a group of Vikings came to Thor's aid. Gore escaped with his arm cut off. Then he created an army of shadow berserkers to help in his future endeavors.
Yeah, I forgot the timeline of the original Gore, the God Killer or the God Butcher run stretched throughout the history of the MCU.
Yeah.
Following Thor as a young man.
Future.
Yeah, and far into the future.
After centuries of killing off gods, Gore is eventually killed by Thor after stopping Gore's God Bomb. This took place a couple of centuries into the future.
God Bomb, new band name, called it.
Later, Nick Fury, wielding the eye and knowledge of a murdered Uatu the Watcher, whispered a secret to Thor that would strip him of his worthiness. This secret, 3 words: Gore was right. Namely, that the gods are vain and vengeful creatures not worthy of admiration. And that's what made him not able to use the hammer anymore.
For a long time, Loki was wielding the hammer as a result too, right?
I missed that. But,
I think just up until recently.
Interesting. Let's see. All Black the Necro Sword is a symbiotic weapon forged by Null, progenitor of the symbiote Clintar species, and it is made from the head of a slain celestial. The Necro
Heads
Sword
are just everywhere. I'm sorry.
yeah. They're just laying around. The Necro Sword granted Gore superhuman strength, speed, durability, and reflexes. The blade allows the user to create various constructs such as wings, sharp tendrils, and magical weapons. It also grants virtual immortality and a regenerative healing, allowing Gore to grow back that arm he lost that one time.
That one time. Band camp.
Each time a god is slain by the blade, it provides more power to its wielder.
That's awesome.
We also saw the Olympians, some of the Olympians. In the 60s, the success of Thor comics showed that updating ancient myths could win readers. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby introduced the Olympians, extra-dimensional beings, once worshipped by cultures around the Mediterranean, such as Greece and Rome, first seen in Journey into Mystery Annual #1, 1965. This movie features Zeus, Dionysus, and Hercules from the Olympians, even in small ways. This movie also features Bast of the Heliopolitans, a group of Egyptian-based gods in the comics. Bast made her first appearance as a totem of Black Panther in Fantastic Four #52, July of 1966, though at that time was only called the Panther God, later to be revealed as Bast. Other Heliopolitans who would appear in comics include Horus, Isis, Osiris, and Khonshu, patron of Moon Knight.
Is she sitting next to the Namor's civilization's god? He looks Olmec or Aztec, or and he's even got the that jade, not jade. What's that green?
I think he's supposed to be. I think Thor name drops him also. Quetzalcoatl.
He does
Is that who
mention
it is?
Quetzalcoatl.
I didn't think it.
Oh.
Oh, does he say that?
He did name drop, yeah.
Okay, then that's who it was. I didn't catch the. Okay.
When they're listing off the people they could bring into their army, he's one of the names.
Well, there you go.
And that's all I wrote.
All right. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah. Let's see. There, just really quickly before we get into the production. So a list of all the gods that were in it, not counting our Asgardians. There was Falagar the Behemoth was featured in there as a corpse.
Mm-hmm.
But then we did have Dionysus. Briefly spoke. He was in this a lot more. Apparently, that he lost all his scenes. He was like a kind of a tertiary character.
Wow.
Yeah. Then we had Bao, the god of dumplings, an old Cronin god, Korg's, Bast, the Egyptian god, Minerva, Artemis.
Sorry, Ninny of the Nani.
Yes.
Nini Nani.
Hey, Nani.
Yeah. Minerva, Artemis, an Elch goddess, the Quetzalcoatl. Let's see. There's one just called the Goddess of the Dead, who is not Hela, a Jadamuri god, a fur god. Let's see. A flower god, Ra, Sequoia Queen and Oaken King, Ager, and those are all the ones that specifically could be named. Or
Lucifer was name dropped
yeah,
as the one god who received the most human sacrifices.
Oh,
that's right.
I couldn't make that out.
Yeah.
I didn't catch those.
Jesus was supposed to also be in this movie, but did not make it
for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
right.
Or the god of carpentry, I think was the joke that they were going with.
Yeah.
I saw the funniest tweet ever. It was like the guy who only knew Jesus professionally. Honey, they crucified our carpenter. I just looked up the statues in Eternity's throne room. So we have Eternity himself was there. We have Infinity. We have Death, Lady Death. We have the Watcher, which I saw him. Living Tribunal, which we saw. Eon, the one above all. That was the Celestial whose head was chopped off. Okay, they didn't even list it. Kang is in there, right? Jonathan Majors' bust is next to the Living Tribunal.
I didn't catch it, but I absolutely would believe that. Sure.
Interesting.
Especially after Loki having already happened. But yeah, I swear that's who's next to the Living Tribunal.
Interesting. Huh.
That is all.
All right. Yeah, so we're into production now. So of course this was written and directed by Taika Waititi, who did Ragnarok. We've spoken about him before. There's not much to the production of the film. It's at this point it's a machine. They're making the movies. We do have Jennifer Caton Robinson has a screenwriting credit with Taika Waititi. Let's see. So she seems to have just been kind of assigned to it, or maybe she's friends with him. It's hard to say. She's just kind of a screenwriter. She wrote a couple movies previously. Someone Great, which is a romantic comedy, and Unpregnant, which is a road comedy. Buddy comedy.
This is interesting. I wouldn't have been surprised if she was hired to write the script and then Taika punches it up, like adds all the humor, because that's where I was talking about with the medium and the almost like he seemed bored because it didn't seem full on Taika Waititi, but then there were punchy lines that were absolutely him.
It didn't.
So it kind of makes sense if they got a utility writer and then he did the second
You're
draft.
right. Okay, so this, absolutely. It felt like he came up with the basic premise, and then a utility writer wrote it, and then he punched it up, which is interesting because originally, the original credit before the Screenwriters Guild of America made them change it was story by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Caton Robinson, screenplay by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, he probably did more than punch it up. Like he probably wrote the final draft. But he was probably like, I'm a busy dude. You write the travel scenes and the kids talking scenes, and
Yeah, she also has a consulting credit on Hawkeye, which basically means that she did some script drafts on it that are uncredited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's like most of like what she's been writing. I see. She's known as an LGBT screenwriter. Like she does a lot. She does a lot of work in TV and movies that are considered geared towards LGBTQ audiences.
This movie definitely qualifies.
It does. It has
Yeah.
a minimum of 3 LGBTQ characters.
Well, just references. I mean, just subtle shit. Like when Thor's naked, all of those handmaidens pass out, but one of the male guards passes out. Just there's lots of little subtle.
There's that.
Yeah.
Heimdall's son is trans, which is his.
He is?
Yeah, his name was
Astrid.
Was Astrid, which is a female name, and he went through the point of making sure that Thor. Now, Taika Waititi said that was the intent.
Wow.
It's
I
very
feel like
subtle.
It didn't come
It's
across.
very subtle.
Because I figured Astrid might be in, Norwegian. I mean, maybe it's unisex. I don't know.
No, it's.
I mean, we have many unisex. Bobby,
yeah, we do, but
Tony, Charlie.
No, so Heimdall's son. Was the intent was that's a trans male. That was a thing where Thor was dead naming him, and then got him to stop dead naming him.
Oh, it didn't play that way to me.
It
played like Walt. It played like Walt Jr. when he wanted to be Kai.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was very subtle. I don't think anyone who didn't have a vested interest in that community or that would catch it necessarily
or know the name. It's not a very that's what it sort of hinges on, is knowing that the origin of Astrid or how it's I don't know.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that name whatsoever, it sounds like a Marvel name.
Mm. Oh, absolutely. But so as it was made by all of our usual MCU people, of course, and Taika. It stars many people we've spoken about before: Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Christian Bale as the God Butcher, Gore the God Butcher. We last talked about him in The Dark Knight Rises.
Rises.
Did you guys watch Harley Quinn's Valentine's Day special?
Oh,
Yes.
no, I hadn't.
Oh
No.
my God. That was, it was hilarious. Tessa Thompson is back as Valkyrie. Taika Waititi himself played Korg. Natalie Portman is Jane Foster. We've got, of course, all the Guardians for the beginning of this. We have our, let's see, Jamie Alexander back as Sif, briefly. We've got our group of stage actors, which
Right.
Matt Damon, Luke Hemsworth. I always forget which Hemsworth it was. It's the third Hemsworth twin. Sam Neill, and joining them, of course, Melissa McCarthy as Ella. Yeah. And our one name, which I cannot find where we would have talked about him before. I think this may be our first time with Mr. Russell Crowe. Yeah.
I love that guy.
Russell Crowe. I can't believe this is our first movie we've covered on the podcast with him. Russell Crowe. He's going to be in Kraven this year. Kraven the Hunter.
Cool.
So Russell Crowe started his career in the early 80s in New Zealand, performing under the stage name of Russ LaRock as a pop star.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a handsome guy.
He was. He is 18 years old and releasing albums as Russ LaRock. The picture of him as Russ LaRock is amazing. He has a T-shirt that says Russ LaRock on it, and he's wearing like a Michael Jackson like a Thriller jacket.
That's awesome.
One of the songs he released was "Just Want to Be Like Marlon Brando." He did not.
Weird.
He did not make it as a pop star. So he moved from New Zealand to Australia and started acting in an Australian production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. He played Eddie and Dr. Scott. And then he started getting TV work as an actor. And of course, his big breakout movie was Romper Stomper.
Of course.
which was a good movie. That was a good movie. He was in Proof in 1991. That was considered kind of a big hit. And of course, his first American film was The Quick and the Dead with Mr. Sam Raimi. I want to cover that movie sometime. That movie is amazing.
Yeah, I think we had talked about it before, like just like all choosing a Western, because obviously it's a genre that's tiresome, but like there's some fucking gems.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and The Quick and the Dead is like one of those. That movie is fascinating for so many reasons.
It is so innovative.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the movie Sharon Stone made after Basic Instinct. That was her like, I'm cashing in the cachet I built for becoming like the leading lady of the early 90s for this brief period of time.
Hackman, DiCaprio, everybody kills
Yeah,
it in that.
Leonardo before he was Leonardo. Yeah.
Before he was that
Before he was Eternal. Yeah.
Keith David.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few other famous gunslinger, like actors playing gunslingers, right? Well, anyways, we'll save that for when we do that.
But yeah, of course, then, he started really getting known in the late 90s, and early 2000s, LA Confidential, and then Gladiator. That was the big one. That's the one that made him like a superstar. Yeah, Gladiator, and it's been all crow. We've all been eating crow since.
I love that he's living his best life.
Yeah, that dude.
I love that he's just like this is how I look. This is my age. Just.
Oh my God! No, we have covered him before. I forgot. He was Jor-El.
Oh my God, that's right. He's scientist lawyer Jor-El.
Wow. I forgot.
But he wasn't wearing
a
tennis skirt. Does it really count?
Does it count?
Oh yeah. Okay. So Taika Waititi filmed all of Zeus's scenes twice. One with the Greek accents and once with a normal like.
I'm glad they went with the accent.
Me too, because that
you have wine, have grape,
a Greek accent.
And that was Russell Crowe's idea, but Taika was like, "No, that'll be too silly."
He also decided
in the end that it was.
He decided to use his own hair and beard. He told the costuming people, like, I want to make it easy. You've got so much work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just use what I already have.
That's amazing.
I listened to this Australian podcast, Mr. Sunday Movies. They're funny dudes that talk about comic book movies as they come out. But they talked about there's a Greek police officer procedural in Australia, and they are pretty sure that that's the voice that Russell Crowe is doing. He's doing an intentionally bad Greek accent.
Huh.
Well, but it is one. It reminded me of the Greek cook diner owner in the Muppets Take Manhattan. Frog is frog. Woman is woman.
Yeah. But yeah,
it is one. It
added another
Greek
layer
accent.
to that.
It's a Greek American accent. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a very
Not a
specific
Grecian accent.
type of Greek accent. It's
An
not,
American.
Yeah.
A Grecian American accent.
Or a Greek Australian. That's what these guys were trying to get at. They're like, because it was an Australian TV show with an Australian actor doing a Greek accent as a Greek immigrant.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay.
But he got a lot of hate for it because it's arguably pretty bad.
So Zeus.
Yeah.
History's greatest sexual predator.
Right. I've got a lot of sons. We know.
He's like,
he was just almost every time he went to Earth, he's like, I gotta assault somebody.
Fuck a goose.
oh no, sometimes
Fuck a bear.
Yeah, people changed into
Turn into a
animals just
snake.
not to get out.
Zeus literally raped trees and rocks.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
He's like, I'll
This
fuck
lamp.
I'll fuck
this couch.
anything. I
Good
will
to be the
fuck
king.
it. You got it. I'll fuck it.
I'll fuck it. Like, how did you rise to this rank? You seem preoccupied.
Everybody listens to their father, I guess, in the pantheon.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Fucking Zeus.
And then he fucks him.
He reminded me of someone that would play Zeus at Caesar's Palace.
mhm.
Yes.
That's how his performance came off, and I loved it.
The tennis skirt, man, sold
Oh, man.
everything. Just pushed it
Yeah.
over the completely over the edge.
It's like a character you'd get pictures with at Caesar's Palace, at the forum shops or something.
I'm sure the guy at Caesar's Palace says baby cakes too.
I'm
It's
sure.
okay, baby cakes.
It's okay, baby. It's-
I've been saying it since this movie came out.
Okay, baby cakes. We did. Simon Russell Beale played Dionysus, who I mean, he had one line in this cut. He's a pretty well known British character actor.
There's a deleted scene of him on the DVD that has that DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. On the Betamax.
Betamax. I was just about
On the 16 millimeter film reel.
on my ColecoVision.
They arrive to the omnipotent city, and he exposition dumps on them, and at the end of it he goes, "Why am I telling you all of this? Let's go." Which is, I kind of wish it had stayed in, because the on the nose, like, why did I tell you all of these things about where the meeting is, and that his dad is Zeus, and there's
he is a drunk, so it would have been funny.
Yeah.
Why did I tell you?
I think the reason why this character didn't make the final cut in its original plan was because the effect didn't work. Because if you see him, he was supposed to look like a marble statue.
Okay.
It kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like the
funny
character
because-
design didn't work.
I was just saying Caesar's Palace. Yeah, in the forum shops, they have a giant animatronic Bacchus Dionysus,
Yeah.
He's like,
I wonder if
welcome to the forum shops at Caesar's. And it looked like the show that Zeus does in the movie.
So
We
yeah.
should go to Vegas.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry. That's ambitious.
Yeah. Jonathan Brew? I'm not sure how you say his last name. Who was best known for being in the What We Do in the Shadows movie. Played
him.
Rapu.
The third vampire?
Yeah, the third vampire. Yeah, played Rapu, the guy that gets killed. Gore's god.
Allow me to do my dark bidding on the internet. Yeah, I'm bidding on a lamp. I really want.
Yeah, and of course, we've got Brett Goldstein as Hercules. Brett Goldstein, best known as what's his name? What's his last name? Roy Clark. He's from Ted Lasso. Roy Kent.
Oh.
He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where. He's Roy Kent. And Jeff Goldblum, Peter Dinklage, and Lena Headey all were in this movie, but got cut out completely because it did need to come in under 2 hours, and they had to really cut it the fuck down to get that happening.
Peter Dinklage's character was Idri the dwarf, or
Yeah,
but one of the
actually,
saddest characters in the MCU. I love that actor, but I hope the character doesn't come back. Like, I was just watching Infinity War the other day, and I just get so sad. Peter Dinklage's character.
Yeah, well, and I mean,
That's a tragic.
I don't know if they'll come back. They were both killed by Gore in the original cut of this movie. Jeff Goldblum and Peter Dinklage and Lena Headey.
Who is Lena Headey in it? Or Headey? Okay, never mind. No.
Yeah,
let's
I would have to figure it out.
I can look that up. Let's go.
It was a little. They were kind of keeping it a little under wraps, so it's not like just right there, Wikipedia ready. So I'm not sure. She ended up suing them for because she was supposed to get some money for this that she didn't, and it had something to do with her being cut out. It was like a whole big thing, But
you don't get points if you're not actually in it, right? Well, unless your contract stipulates.
Yeah, so there was a thing with that. I don't know the details of it, but that's about it. There's not a whole lot more to talk about with the production of this. They kind of just made the movie. Vin Diesel did get paid for it.
Fuck yeah, he did. My hero, my unexpected personal hero, Mr. Capitalism.
Yeah, fucking Vin Diesel. It was what was it? I think
Diesel's
it was
expensive.
I can't remember if it was Fast 9 or Guardians 2. There was some that dude's insane. There was some premiere where he was doing a Facebook live stream at the premiere, and a reporter started talking to him, and he just put the phone in his pocket and didn't turn it off, and he live streamed the entire premiere movie from his pocket.
The old Mark Ruffalo streamed the top secret movie.
Yeah. It was.
Do you guys remember that when Ruffalo streamed the first? God, it must have been the first 45 minutes of Ragnarok, I think it was, or was it Infinity War?
Huh.
But Marvel, he almost died.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, they send white gloved thugs to your house.
If you ever want to go down a weird rabbit hole, Google Vin Diesel and elephants. He's got a weird interest in elephants. He's really into elephants.
Like how into them is he?
I don't know if it's sexual.
I know where Brian's
but like he constantly photoshops himself into pictures with elephants and takes
himself.
Yeah,
he doesn't have like a guy he pays to do that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he does. It seems pretty.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
It seems pretty amateurish, so I kind of feel like it's him.
I hope it's him. God, I hope.
But like he's really into elephants, and he's like me and the kings. Like, and it's a picture of him with elephants and like a sunrise.
If anyone had told me years ago that he would be an interesting guy, I would have been like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
he wore a fur coat and triple X and fought in it.
The Thor Love and Thunder has 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty meh as far as that goes. I do, however, have some Letterboxd reviews. Bailey writes, the sound design sucked ass. Half a star.
Really?
Huh.
It's weird that was it. That was the needle.
I listened to this with headphones,
the straw,
and cranked the volume on my sound system, and it sounded awesome.
Yeah, like the goat screams, which are hilarious. But sometimes they're just distant.
I have a feeling that the goat screams are the thing that pushed this person over the edge.
Yeah, no, of all the things to complain about, the sound design is
it's interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah. The goats were very divisive.
The animation. Oh, yeah.
I'm Team Goat, though.
I loved him.
This might be Alaric Anderson now. I'm not sure. It's with an E in it and a K, but
I've seen it with an E.
But Alaric Anderson writes, Thor Love and Thunder, more like Thor Blob and Blunder, am I right?
No.
Is all anyone?
Is this thing on?
Is this on?
What's the deal with airline food?
And let's see. Letterboxd user Shania writes, letting Jane be a god is something that should happen to me. 2023 is my year. 5 stars.
Man, she feels like a woman.
You, man.
And Peter's left knee writes, Thor got problems like me. For real? For real? We both sad. LMAO. Thumbs up emoji.
The kids are all right, man.
Yeah. I still maintain Thor has the largest and most satisfying arc.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something very different.
The largest and most
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it's got a curve to it.
Is the telling.
So, that's it, guys.
Oh, I've got one. Gay. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Bi
panic.
Yeah.
There is a lot of bi panic in this.
There is. Yeah, no, this.
If it makes you panic.
I know.
Hell yeah.
I know it's a low bar, but this is the the gayest MCU movie by far.
Oh yeah.
So all
Which
right,
works for the gods.
it does.
You know, like
Yeah.
flower gods, color gods. Like, I'm not saying those things are gay inherently, but gods, the concept of comic book gods, they're a little. There's no word I can find that's not offensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's
Swishy. It's a terrible word. I got no, but you know what I
Say
mean.
swishy?
Zeus.
Oh,
you know,
he's
like
wearing a
flipping
tennis
his
skirt,
skirt.
yeah.
I mean, they were
and, you know,
Greeks. The Greeks are famously free and easy
And
with that
gay
kind
people?
of thing.
Yeah, very sexually open.
Yeah. So
Liberated.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
Forward.
So, all right, we ready to jump into the film, guys?
Take
Screaming
me
goats.
down to Paradise City.
Yeah.
Taste the rainbow.
Oh, we didn't even
Taste the
talk about.
Rainbow.
We'll get to GNR as we get through this. It sent me down a rabbit hole of watching old videos from Use Your Illusions, of which there were many.
Yeah, November Rain's a mini movie.
The November
Yeah.
Rain video is insane, and I looked it up because it is on the list of the most expensive music videos ever made. It's the 10th most expensive music video ever made. The second most expensive music video ever made was it's just Estranged. Estranged. It's the one that's when you're talking to yourself
Yeah.
and there's nobody home. That song, that music video has at a certain point, Slash is literally walking on the ocean doing a guitar solo.
Yeah, they put a glass platform.
That's the
Is
one.
that the one where they're on the skyscraper as well? Anyways,
Yeah,
there was another one where there was a stunt where Slash is like, it's made to look very dangerous.
Yeah, no, Slash, he played his guitar at the top of cliffs with a single church.
Yeah, that's right. That church, that's so huge, and
Yeah.
then you step outside.
Yeah, no, but in Estranged, there's one where there's a shot where Axel's crying in the shower, completely dressed, but he's wearing his baseball cap and shorts and his Nikes that say Axel on them and a sequined jacket, just sitting in the shower crying.
He had a
We've all
model of
been there.
Nikes before Jordan.
Really?
I'm pretty sure because he was known for his Nikes, man. He was always on, the flannel tied around his waist.
Yeah, that's November Rain is the one where he swam with the dolphins and played piano.
And Stephanie Seymour.
And the CGI dolphin comes out of the water and is swimming around him while he's playing piano.
I know.
Ooh, GNR, man. Fucking GNR. The last gasp of cock rock before Nirvana killed it.
I think they were a little above
They were
the hair metal.
absolutely. They were legitimate. They weren't Def Leppard.
I mean, Appetite for Destruction's a rock and roll album. I don't care.
Appetite for Destruction is
I mean, that's up against anything with Stones.
honestly, I mean, Use Your Illusion is insane. That double album
Yeah.
is crazy. And
Oh,
then-
I know. It was so eagerly anticipated. Like I was waiting for it.
I listened to the fuck out of that thing. And there's huge portions that are just piano and symphony. They really
Yeah.
thought they were making Abbey Road there.
So now's as good a time to bring it up as any. I was looking through the IMDb quotes, and there are a lot that are not in this movie. Maybe they're in the deleted scenes that I didn't watch. But there's one where Gore brings out a cassette and shows it to a drugged Zeus. You like Guns N' Roses? And proceeds to talk about Appetite for Destruction, their first and most famous album. And then Zeus says, a groggy Zeus says, why are there so many skeletons around this place? You have a dog? A hellhound, maybe? No, Zeus. Hey, is that the Necro Sword? Yes, it is. And starts talking about the Appetite for Destruction some more. He's like, hey, Zeusa. And then hacks him with the Necro Sword, screaming, try getting a reservation at Valhalla now, you damn stupid bastard.
I have a
What?
feeling that may
What
not be a
school play?
real scene. No, that was American. That was the American Psycho
American
scene with the
Psycho.
axe.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally a real scene.
Christian Bale.
That would have been hilarious.
It would have been.
Filmed that.
Right.
Not
Like,
put it in
yeah,
a
so
movie,
it's
but
the
just
scene,
had it.
the Huey Lewis in the news
Yeah.
scene.
All right, guys, here we go. This is Thor, Love and Thunder. We open on Gore and his daughter, the last of their race, stumbling through a barren desert.
Yeah, man.
It's an intense opening for a movie that is really fucking light a lot of the time. There's some heavy themes.
It's true. I thought that Gore was going to be a little more serious.
I gotta
You
say,
know, it's. Go ahead.
I love Christian Bale's portrayal here.
I do.
I really
like
wish
it.
we had seen more of him. I know they filmed plenty, but and I know that's a big complaint. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, they wasted Gore. But I
No.
do wish we had gotten some more time with Christian Bale's portrayal of Gore.
Yeah, I just wanted more time
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
character. Like what he did was incredible.
It's interesting. In the comics, he has these weird, like, tendril type. And then, so I'm glad they didn't include those. But then his yellow eyes and his teeth and everything, if he did look like the comic, he would look like Bib Fortuna. He
Yeah.
would look exactly.
He would.
Because
Or
the face is exactly the same. They just
Who
took
was
like-
the Thanos goon?
Squidward?
The wizard Squidward. Yeah, he looks like Squidward,
the
basically.
maw, ebony maw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
I wanted to say he didn't choose. Christian Bale said he expected to be made a CGI character.
Right, stop mo.
He thought that was what was going to happen, but they decided that they did not want to lose any of his expression in
Right.
a CGI character. So he
So
spent
glad.
4 hours every day in makeup. And chose and he had a lot to do with the choosing of the color palette and the scarification and like the different tattoo styles that he had on him or whatever. So
I'm
he was
glad.
very intimately involved with the character design, which I thought was cool.
he spent 3 months actually living as the God Butcher and murdering different gods.
Killed a bunch of gods. Yeah, he's a method.
Yeah, so despite their prayers to their god Rapu, his daughter dies. The god-killing Necrosword calls to Gore, who leads him to a desert oasis, a lush realm in which Rapu is partying with some flower gods.
What should be the eternal reward? That's where Gore thinks, he's going, which is what angers him. He's wrought by the death of his daughter, but death happens. Obviously, he's on this dying planet. It's that there's no payoff.
There's
And that is a very empathetic, simple. Like, you can get behind that character instantly. It was very clever because you're like, yeah, he's right.
Well,
after all that suffering, it doesn't even fucking.
he's like, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
Well, he's not mad that he didn't intervene. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's mad that
He accepts that gods don't do that necessarily.
That is the basic contractual obligation of a religion. I may die for you, but I get a reward afterwards.
Yeah. I need no evidence. Just
Moreover, Rapu laughs at him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's that.
You idiot! You believe that?
And it's so
that's gotta
funny
sting.
because, yeah, it stung for the audience. I think.
This leads me to
What a low level god.
This leads me to my
flexing.
single biggest unanswered question of this film, which is in the MCU, in this on-screen universe. I know there's a lot of background in the comics, but ignoring the comics, on screen in this movie, in this universe, what the fuck is a god? It's very is it simply an advanced like creature, like alien of great power. I know there's the Celestials. We've got them. We've got all of that stuff. But I mean, what are they in this universe? They seem to mostly just be very powerful, beings. But
I think worship
movie,
is important.
But
the worship aspect.
And that human beings birth them into existence.
Do they though?
Not human beings, but the worshippers of.
Because
right?
I mean, maybe, but it seemed like the Asgardians existed prior, and the humans started worshiping them because they came there and saw them and saw how powerful they were.
I mean, you're right. Same with the Olympians, but.
So
yeah,
it becomes very weird in the MCU specifically. Like I said, I know in the comics and everything, there's a lot happening there.
No, but I don't know if they've ever explained it, to be honest. Like what sets them aside, because their designation is gods.
Right. So what makes them different than any other really powerful alien?
Right. Then say eternity. Like everyone, all those busts in the Eternity Stone Room are more powerful than the gods.
Yeah.
Death, infinity.
So, I mean, are these just really powerful aliens that then started being worshipped? So they got together and made a club and like, hey, we're all gods now. Or is there something more fundamental to it, and that's why they're worshipped? Like it's on screen. This is all very, very questionable, especially with how the Asgardians were treated in the first 4 Thor movies.
And who can die and who can't? Like, is it the level of how? Because Zeus obviously didn't die, but you can kill gods. That's the crux of the movie.
Yeah. There's a lot, and it's interesting that all of the new gods were introduced to all have the ichor, the golden blood, but we have seen many Asgardians bleed, including Thor and Loki and Odin, all had red regular blood.
But those were Olympian gods, or not even gods.
Rapu had the
golden. Rapu, that's true.
He had the golden blood. Yeah, it is it's an interesting question that I don't know if anyone has.
Yeah,
answered.
It is. I consider it unanswered for sure. Not good or bad, just unanswered.
Well, right, because the answer is the question. What are they? They're gods. And then what are gods? But yeah, that's been the answer. So I don't know if they've gone further.
Yeah, and it's just with the inconsistency that everything has been treated on screen by the MCU over 30 movies. It's interesting to try to make it all fit together. So, anyways, Gore takes the Necrosword and kills Rapu and vows he's going to kill all the gods.
And that's Null comics, laying on the ground. It is.
Yeah.
Differently.
Say that again, Brian. You froze for a second.
In the comics, because you see them falling through the atmosphere as they re-enter from a battle in space. Instead of just stumbling into an oasis where there was a battle and Rapu is celebrating his victory or whatever. This is one thing where I remember watching the movie going like, dang, I would have liked to see like 2 gods tumbling through the sky and have him go to that instead of having the sword whisper to him or whatever.
And I want to know how Rapu and those like flower gods won that battle. Rapu's obviously not a very powerful god. He's kind of low level. And I mean, for the sake of exposition, I get it. But Null was pretty badass.
Well,
he made that sword.
That is legally distinctly not Null because Null is owned by Sony.
I know.
But
I know. But the shadow creatures are very symbiote. They went as far as they could without Sony.
Without getting sued. Yeah. Then we get the Marvel fanfare, get it a little metal style. We cut to Thor. He's joined the Guardians of the Galaxy after Endgame. We get a voiceover from Korg. He tells us the story of Thor losing all the weight he put on in Endgame. We get a brief tour.
Which is important to, like if he just reappeared I appreciated it.
Absolutely.
Like how he transformed from Lebowski Thor to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I like that. I like that a lot. We get a brief tour of his life. Kid Thor is played by I almost said Liam Neeson. It's not even Liam. By Chris Hemsworth's son.
Mm. And he's wearing the original Journey into Mystery outfit, the tiger stripe boots, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Oh, and
quick.
It's and Gore's daughter is played by Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
Wow.
And
little nepo babies.
Well, and all of the Asgardian kids are played by the kids of the cast and crew. Natalie Portman's kids are in there. Taika Waititi's kids are in there. Russell Crowe has some kids in there. A lot of the crew members, those were all kids of the crew. So this was
Christian Bale's kids are not in the cage scenes because they did not want to get nightmares from their father.
So this is a family movie.
So he's not scary in general.
Yeah, this is very, very much a movie about parenthood. Very much, yeah.
Oh,
this is a movie for children.
Yeah,
more than anything.
Speaking about the cage scene, I do love that Gore is just trying to connect to the kids in that scene. Like, hey, kids, you like beheadings?
Like doing crowd work with a bunch of children.
He doesn't hate kids, no. It's about kids.
He's legitimately trying to connect to them. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, we've got the voiceover. Then we cut to the Guardians fighting some chicken guys.
Yeah, those guys are weird.
Yeah.
Scan scum.
But I love the classic Thor joke because he does it all the time where he's just not self-aware, so he's up there meditating. And they're like, come on, man, like, we really need you. They're trying to goad him. So he hops on Stormbreaker and flies away and he's like, hurry up. It's like such a Thor.
Him hopping on
said what?
He said, hurry up. Like he's suddenly telling them.
Him hopping on Stormbreaker and flying away like it's a broom and he's a witch is hilarious.
Yeah.
So hilarious. Hurry up.
That's the stuff I loved. I really loved all the weird Taika Waititi shit in this movie.
Yeah,
like
there are a lot of
like you said, Josh, the story feels rushed and basic and medium. But all the little Taika things throughout the movie are great.
Yeah, those weird blue aliens, and it was a beautiful oasis. Like they're weird voices. And he's got like a dollar store waste basket.
You know who they remind? They reminded me of those Futurama aliens that come and take over the delivery service for those couple episodes.
They remind me of the Thermites, the aliens in Galaxy Quest, whose voices are just a little weird. They talk weirdly English.
Yeah. They're the Indigar.
Yeah. Oh, is out there? Yeah, the Indigar. So they know their god is dead, but they still want to keep their temple, which is such a human thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we know it's hollow now, but don't mess it up.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
instead of burning it down yourselves, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's a nice temple, guys. So we get Thor comes and kills all the the chicken guys for the monks. So
they're a biker gang, right?
Yeah,
that's essentially what they are.
Yeah.
They've got colors, they got leather vests.
And of course, this is like super like crazy like 70s, 80s like metal like theme going through it. Thor does the splits on those two things.
Yeah,
like
such a
he's got that rad vest.
Yeah, I wish he had kept this look. I like it so much better than when he gets like to be like super
it's
MC.
Kind of his Jack Burton look, Like does he? Did he even have that shirt? Because there are so many 80s movies references. Even on the barge, that bar's called Cocktails and Dreams. So many references.
So yeah, so he accidentally knocks down the temple while this is happening, though. Then we cut to Jane Foster on Earth. She has cancer. She's getting chemo.
She ruins a book.
She ruins a book. We get a cameo from Kat Dennings.
Yep,
which is nice.
She made it.
Structurally, this is one of the things that kind of drives me crazy about this movie. Is that the Guardians thing is not tacked on to the beginning. It's like they tried to integrate it into the story. I would have loved to have it be the pre-Marvel whatever fanfare moment.
Yeah.
And then open the movie with Natalie Portman. Because this goes on for a long time, which is fine. Whatever. They set it up at the end of Endgame. But like to try and blend the story into a classic Thor adventure, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest weakness of the movie is trying to pull the Guardians into it.
That's why I kind of think that Jennifer chick, wrote the uninteresting bones. You know what I mean? Like, I need a scene with Jane getting her chemo. Like, that seems like what that person wrote.
And honestly, that scene works so well for me. The cancer scenes always work for me. But yeah, I think spending so much time with the Guardians and then splitting off at that point, and then they're never back in the story, whatever. It seems so empty.
No, it does. And also, she's got they don't really specify. She's got cancer of the cancer or whatever. Like, it's just cancer.
Well, on stage 4, it's going to kill you.
So that means it's spread from its source.
Yeah. But I do like how much Jane is respected and accomplished on her own in reference to nothing to do with any superhero. She is just Dr. Jane Foster.
Mm-hmm.
And later at the end of the movie, she specifies that, no, you can call me the Mighty Thor or Dr. Jane Foster.
Yeah, doctors are fucking militant.
Yeah,
which I understand. If I spent that money and time,
I mean, yeah, that's the fucking
Lecter.
joke. I didn't spend 8 years in evil medical school to be called Mister.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it's a great shade to throw, though. If you're hating a doctor.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, we get a little bit of a montage of her trying to uncancer her cancer. She gets called to New Asgard, or we see her visiting there. Then we get a montage of Valkyrie doing king stuff and the tourism, including an ice cream shop called Infinity Cones, which I would argue is kind of like the Twin Towers pancake stack house.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I thought that to myself. I was like, is too soon a thing in the Marvel universe?
Right. It's like,
nope.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, the Asgardians got it worse than anybody. They got cut in half and then cut in half again. So it's very self-deprecating.
But I mean, that's almost like the I don't know, the it'd be almost like the Holocaust, Jewish, kosher deli. Oh my God.
Our holocausts are low, so we pass the savings on to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I felt that.
Yeah. So she visits the shards of Mjolnir.
Fucking Brian's muting, and he's been laughing this whole time.
I know. He's the muted laugher.
Folks, I get way more laughs than it seems.
I feel so bad laughing at that joke, but goddamn, Jesus Christ.
So I guess I didn't connect this before. That New Asgard was built on the location where Odin died.
Yeah.
It's where the Asgardians fought the ice giants, the frost giants in the first movie.
Yeah, and it's where
it's their
Tesseract.
holy land.
It's where the Tesseract was hidden in Captain America, the first Avenger. Yeah.
But yes, Val is very bored.
Yeah, she's
with,
bored being
what she has
king.
to
She's
do.
doing commercials.
Meek is a woman.
Meek is a woman. Yes.
Or a female. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I had an unanswered question.
You know why I didn't know that? It's because when Meek was introduced, they referred to him as he.
Well, if we're talking about
times.
inconsistencies here, in Ragnarok, Korg mentions his mom and her boyfriend, and in this one, he talks about his two dads. So
and that it seems like they're a male only
society.
That's how they reproduce
species,
as
yeah.
females. Yeah.
So I'm very curious.
Like those guys on the Orville.
Oh, yeah.
The Klingon type guys. Their two husbands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm very curious as to how then the mom plays a role in this society.
Yeah.
And I had a question. Okay, so she sees the shards of Mjolnir, which is on the grass on which it fell, but is raised up. So my question is then,
Who raised
it so you can cut the earth out around Mjolnir and pick that up, I guess?
They cut the
Yeah.
earth out around it and left the grass where it was. That was my interpretation. They
Yeah.
So did they
Cut
lower
it-
the grass all around it? The ground all
and
around
then
it then?
installed marble.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Makes sense.
Because I have a feeling that they tried to excavate that whole area and were physically unable to.
Yeah, you can't lift the pieces.
Makes
either.
sense. So back with the Asgardians of the galaxy, Thor is given some screaming goats as a gift by the monks, and they start getting distress signals from gods all over the galaxy. They're being killed. They get one from Sif. Thor decides to part ways with the team and find Sif, and the Guardians go to their own sequel with James Gunn.
That will probably not address the god
Thing
vacuum.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
They don't relate.
supposed to go and answer like all the other distress calls,
There was over 1,500 of them.
something like that.
Which, if all of these or half of these are attributable to Gore, that's like, it's just a bummer that we didn't get a murder montage or
It
just
is.
a
Would've been
traveling
kinda fun.
montage.
It
Yeah,
is.
it would have been. Fun.
It is. Like Feige insisted it was under 2 hours. It was an hour, 19 minutes, and 57 seconds.
Yeah.
There were 3 seconds to play with. That.
Yeah, no, it makes sense why we
I
didn't,
think
but I'm with
that-
Brian.
The choices that Taika made were to retain the relationship, close the arc for Thor, rather than establish the villainy of Gore.
Yeah, which makes
You're right.
sense. Makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah, I would have loved to have this movie be 15 minutes longer, 7 of which are Gore, 7 of which are Mighty Thor, becoming Mighty Thor and going on adventures.
But you're right. I mean, they leaned more on the emotional and the sensitivity, like Thor said, parenthood, terminal illness.
Yeah, being
Love.
sensitive to the fear of children. That there's a lot of time developed in those conversations with Team Kids in a Cage.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. The progeny, because like you said, as guardians have been cut down to such a small, not that anyone wouldn't go looking for their kids, but it's just like, we need this generation. Like,
Yeah.
We absolutely need, and there's that Pied Piper sort of vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. So Thor goes and finds Sif, who's missing her arm. And Sif warns Thor that Gore's next target is New Asgard. It was jumping ahead a lot here. It was a real missed opportunity that her arm was not in the post-credits sequence. Why was her arm not involved?
Because that's not how it works. I think he was just being
Her arm is not involved.
It would have been hilarious if her arm was just there floating next to Heimdall.
I like the clarification
Would have
though
been hilarious.
on entry into Valhalla. You have to fall in battle in Marvel's
Yeah.
Valhalla instead of it's just Asgardian heaven. Like no, you have to die
It's for the
defending
gods. Their
something
heaven.
or
And
doing the murders.
I loved Sif's reaction when Thor clarifies. It's like, oh shit.
Was that her slapping arm?
Yeah, right.
In Loki, she just repeatedly slaps.
Oh, and then kicks him in the nuts, right?
Yep, knees him in the nuts, right?
I do think it's funny that at the end they just have like the stump there. Like, I mean, come on, Thor's got his robot eye. Give her an arm.
That's
Oh, she'll get one. She'll get one. Yeah. She'll be back. I hope that Jamie Alexander's back. She's so much fun in that role.
She takes it off for training with the kids, just so it's
fair.
Yeah.
So it's fair. Yeah.
We cut to New Asgard. Gore shows up. There's some monsters attacking the town. Thor arrives, starts fighting, and he finds that there's another Thor, and it's Jane.
Can we talk about the creature design? Do you guys know how the shadow creatures got their design?
No.
Taika was trying to figure out what kind of creatures Gore would create, and his kid came in and said, like, well, what do you want it to look like? And he goes, I don't know, draw something. His daughter drew something, and then he said, holy shit, I should have everyone's kids draw something.
That's
so
awesome.
Cast and Crew's
That
kids
is awesome.
drew monsters, and then they had the 5 houses develop monsters for them, the different graphics houses.
That's
develop
awesome.
these monsters to become black and white creatures.
That is so cool.
And like I said, intentional or not, they have a symbiote like vibe to them.
Kinda
they're sort of,
writhing, tentacly.
Yeah, spider arms, but not really a spider, and they sort of creep like a shadow.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good way to be like, we're not saying that's what it is, but if this ever happens, that's what they were.
So there are layers to this movie, and every time, because I tried to figure out like why is this movie not the thing that I wanted it to be, which is the Gore versus Thor millennia long saga. It's because this movie is about children. And it's about children surviving through chaos or whatever, and like relationships surviving through. Yeah, like. And that's not what we wanted from this movie. We, as the general Marvel movie viewing public, which I don't think that the viewers are right. I think that this movie stands for what he wanted it to be, which is a movie for kids.
I think
feel encouraged to be brave.
I think the themes and all the kids stuff is great. I mean the screenplay is messy, and
but it's one of the most relatable villains, and their plot is really, again, he wasn't even as upset that he didn't get an eternal reward, but his idea was like, what could she have possibly done? How could she have angered the gods to not be able to be here? And like even Thanos is like, the half of you. Why not multiply the resources, Thanos? No, fuck you.
Yeah.
But this one's like, yeah, man, that's a reason to pick up a sword.
Yeah.
Child. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
More so than love. It's always love. And it's just like, will you die for me? No, bitch. I love you. No, I will not die for you. Don't tell my wife.
Have you guys seen that video? I have no idea. It's like probably 10 years old at this point, but I see it go around the internet once in a while, or like there's like some guys in masks and they have a family hostage and they give a gun to the mom, and there's 2 kids. And they're like, choose one, shoot one of them. You have to shoot one of your kids, and they're like screaming at her, and she finally just like pulls the trigger at one, and there's nothing. And they're like, all right, kids, now you know which one of you your mom loves best.
They didn't love the God. That's fucked up. For the rest of your life, you knew your mom was gonna.
Yeah, and the one kid's like, "Were you gonna shoot me, Mom?"
Of course not. Aim above your head.
And the dad, like, there's a second, and the dad's like, "Well, kids, do you want to get Domino's or that other place we go to?" So all right. Yeah, so Thor finds Jane is also a Thor. He's confused. We get a flashback with some more Korg voiceover, a montage of their relationship. We see that they eventually break up due to both being too busy and growing apart.
An important plot point that just went by so briefly. Thor tells Mjolnir to always protect her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after their Halloween party,
which is what leads to her being able to pick up Mjolnir and all of that. Yeah.
And that it will help her, give her strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sentience of his weapons in this movie is hilarious. Right down to pouring a beer on Stormbreaker. Like,
yeah. Well, like
and there's a humming because I had the titles on. So like it said like metallic humming, like Stormbreaker liked it,
That one scene where Thor is like talking to Mjolnir or something, and Stormbreaker just comes from off screen very slowly up to him.
Hilarious yeah. He's a little jealous, but then also, like he misses Mjolnir. Yeah.
I think an interesting thing here is when they when Thor and Jane talk, Jane says, it's been what, 3-4 years? And Thor's like, makes the joke, 8 years, 6 months, 7 days. Does that indicate that she was blipped? Because it's exactly 5 years, not exactly, but basically 5 years more than she thought in her mind.
Than she had thought. Yeah.
That's
That
how I
makes sense.
interpreted that.
Yeah.
The 5 year
Yeah.
gap is pretty obvious in this world.
But just one last point about the weapons. Like, I just love that Taika established so quickly that like you could buy a buddy movie. Like, that's how good Thor is. Like, just Thor and Stormbreaker. Like, Stormbreaker can't speak, so it's like a Turner and Hooch situation. But just like you could buy that. You could buy that.
Yeah, you can.
I love how
dynamic. It's an axe.
they set this up on the first planet after the Guardians leave. Korg says, "Just you and me," and that's crazy bloody axe as the axe comes flying past them. It's the crazy ex-girlfriend kind of thing. Like, and your crazy girlfriend's got to come, I guess.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right. Your friend tolerates it.
Well, and what's her name? Valkyrie doesn't trust the axe. Crazy axe. Everybody thinks the axe is crazy. Everybody knows it except for Thor.
Yeah.
It's got a little Groot in him too.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, he does. When he sticks it in the ground, it starts growing. Yeah.
Well, and the handle was made from Groot's arm.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it could become a full Groot, like new Groot
interesting.
became after old, because there was only just,
That's right.
buds
They
left
keep growing.
of old Groot.
Yeah.
So Thor, Jane, Valkyrie, and Korg fight Gore. Gore kidnaps the Asgardian children and escapes. It becomes morning. There's a town meeting. Thor and Valkyrie and Jane and Gore get contacted by Axel, Heimdall's son, who has the Heimdall powers. I hope he can see better than Heimdall could, who was the blindest person who ever saw everything.
Saw into the future, yeah.
How did you get snuck up on so many fucking times, Heimdall?
Yeah.
This is after Thor tries to Bifrost through the roof of Town Hall.
Yeah.
And we find out that the Bifrost, Stormbreaker's Bifrost is a little janky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Thor visits the kids as a vision ghost. They're all in a space cage.
Space cage.
He promises the kids that he's going to rescue them. He realizes they're in the center of the galaxy near the Shadow Realms.
The space cage drove me crazy. It's very like labyrinth looking.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Yeah.
I like that it is a physical thing. I just wish that we could have seen what it was on, how it was moving. Give me a small drop of world explanation about how this thing is moving from one side of the galaxy to the other.
It just moved through the shadows with Gore.
Yeah.
Shadows. And how the Shadow Realm was weird. Like the goats hit the planet head on.
Because
and
it's
then
a
we see
lot
it just
smaller than it looks. Yeah, from that
That's
angle.
one of my
and it has
favorite
strange.
shots.
It's not in one of our dimensions, and I don't mean like
Yeah.
multiverse dimension. I mean 3D.
It's in
4D,
the shadow realm.
Yeah.
Like
That's like a little prince
yes, like
kinda-
the Little Prince.
Yeah.
kind of planet.
Yeah.
They call it the
absolutely.
moon of shame. On set, on like the set design and everything. That's what they were describing
How did
it
Pink
as.
Floyd miss that moon?
I guess everybody just gets to breathe in space when you're a god or related to the gods. in
Shadow
some
Realm.
way.
But Al's right. It's a different.
Well, I mean that, but
Different.
also when Thor, Jane, and Valkyrie are flying on that boat, I guess there's
Oh.
a force field, or they can all just breathe in space.
They can just breathe in space. Yeah. I mean, Thor can breathe in
Gods
space.
can. Yeah.
He's
Thor
done it
can.
before.
yeah. I guess,
He's flown
The
with a
Guardians
hammer
found him.
through space. Yeah, and then they
Sure.
found him in space.
and the space goats obviously have no problem.
Asgard doesn't really have an atmosphere that we can see. Then again, Natalie Portman could breathe in Asgard when she went.
Yeah,
So maybe they gave her a force
Mjol-
field.
I think Mjolnir is what's helping her.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Mhm.
Korg has lungs.
Yeah, Valkyrie is Asgardian, so she doesn't count. Yeah, whatever.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, whatever. It's the yeah. So, anyways, back in New Asgard, they decide they're going to need backup, so they're going to go to Omnipotent City to warn the other gods and ask for their help in creating an army to fight Gore. They hook Stormbreaker up to a ship with the goats to travel there, since the Bifrost, as Al said, is kind of janky. We get some tension with Thor, Mjolnir, and Stormbreaker. Then Jane tells Thor that about Mjolnir calling to her and made her a Thor. We discover, though, that anytime she unthors herself, she's sicker than ever.
I appreciate that they put in that the Bifrost is what gets you to Omnipotent City, because like if they didn't have that one little bit, then it's just like, how is this hidden away?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you just have to travel to it. So yeah. I appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that the little scene with I had trouble deciding whether this passes the Bechdel test, because every time that Jane Foster and Val talked, they did mention Thor. There was not a single time they didn't mention Thor. And those were the only two female characters that spoke to each other.
Well, the conversation, I mean, about the cancer, it then went to,
talking about Thor.
Talking about Thor, but then like just talking about their weapons, and then she pulls out the Bluetooth speaker.
And they listen to Mary J. Blige.
Jam for a little bit.
They decide that there should be no hateration in this dancery.
Darcy and Jane's first conversation. Then Darcy again, they talk about Viking space magic. It's time to pull the Viking space card.
Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird because, obviously Valkyrie's bisexual, but they're having a conversation, and not only are they talking about Thor, but kind of about his dick.
Yeah.
Val's like, oh, no hurry, putting his clothes back on, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
so you're right. It's like
it's so close.
That feels like a Michael Bay moment, and not a very progressive take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're right.
Yeah, it's all so close to passing the Bechdel test, but just every single time they have to mention Thor that they're talking.
Well, when after the cancer scene with the sink, I know this conversation goes into Thor eventually, but she's talking, Valkyrie is talking about being the king, and just like, it's all meetings and Raven male, and a meeting that could have been a Raven male. Yeah. So they are having a conversation.
That's true.
Apart from Thor, even though they eventually start talking about Thor, but they do talk
about things that aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made, I guess, either way. It's very, very on the edge. So anyways, they arrive in Omnipotent City. They sneak in by becoming color gods, or dressing up as color gods.
Was that an homage to Inside Out? The colors of
the emotion gods, being different colors.
Yeah, maybe. There. This shot where they're walking into Omnipotent City. If you guys watch Valkyrie in the background, she was not on set with Chris Hemsworth and what's her face?
Natalie
Portman, thank you. Yeah. She was not on the same set as them, because she is so just like doing like that extra thing where she's like nodding and making a concerned looks. Yeah. Like so CGI'd in. So yeah, they sneak in. Zeus flicks away Thor's robes after they come to his attention. Thor Thor tells them about that he wants them to help with Gore. Zeus is unwilling to help. He says they can remain safe and hidden from Gore in the city. He doesn't think Gore is going to be able to visit the realm of eternity, where he'll be granted one wish, which they all presume is going to be to destroy the gods. Zeus orders the groups to be captured to prevent them from exposing the city's location to Gore. But when Zeus injures Korg, it enrages Thor, and he takes control of Zeus's thunderbolt and stabs him. Valkyrie takes the thunderbolt when they escape.
Stab is a weak word.
Yeah,
What happened?
it goes all the way through him, center. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was cool that he was able to catch Thunderbolt and toss it back at him.
It's interesting how little respect the Asgardians seem to have from the rest of the gods, considering how badass they fucking are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that they flesh out more of the world of the gods in a future property to explain why they look down on Odin or whatever.
I think they're gonna have to explain some shit with Kang, especially if they allow the Ramatut character to happen. You know, like they're gonna have to get into gods because Kang was worshipped as a god.
Right. The rumor is currently that Moon Knight is going to be part of the Avengers Kang dynasty. So, yeah. So let's see. They travel via goat boat towards the Shadow Realm.
This might be one of the coolest needle drops in the whole freaking MCU. And I am not a Guns N' Roses fan. The screaming goats in the distance. Oh, did we talk about Korg's face being the living thing?
Yeah, only
also the weird
first
person point of view from the back of Valkyrie's head. I love those shots. There's a lot of these weird POV shots.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one. There's one later on with the kids. The kid with the laser-eyed rabbit.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. I like that Taika went that direction with it. But the entry of the boats into Omnipotent City is a crazy moment. I remember seeing this in the theater and thinking, okay, now it's happening. Now we're at Ragnarok levels of like this firing on all pistons.
Right.
Yeah, no, all 4 GNR needle drops are pretty fucking awesome. At the beginning, we get Welcome to the Jungle. When they're going into Omnipotent City, we get Paradise City. The goats, we've got Sweet Child of Mine.
And then
the Shadow Realm battle.
The
November Rain
that fucking
solo.
needle drop is
Everybody
badass
needs
as
somebody.
fuck.
Yeah.
Everybody needs someone.
No,
Yeah.
it sent me down the GNR rabbit hole. I forgot how much I dug that band.
This is the most I've ever appreciated the band, for sure.
I was pretty big into them in middle school and early high school, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I still like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember what I was saying. Go ahead.
So anyways, so on the way.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. I even got excited when the boat went past the 2 Celestials.
Oh yeah,
That's
outside the
right.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that they're just like kind of looky-loos.
Right. Especially
weren't
after being
invited
established
inside.
as like they were intense in
Well,
Eternals.
they wouldn't fit inside, so they just have
Yeah.
to look in through the window.
Yeah.
Right.
On the way to the Shadow Realms, Thor and Jane see some space dolphins. They do some talking. Thor tells Jane he wants to feel shitty with her, and she says she has cancer.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this. I feel like I understand 100% what what Taika was going for in this conversation. I feel like they only got 75% of the way to pulling it off in that like awkward rom-com-y kind of way where they say the wrong thing to each other constantly.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think this scene went on way too long, personally.
Yeah.
I did like the, and I think that this is probably very, very true for cancer patients, but like don't feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
Like that's why I didn't tell you, because I don't want your fucking pity. Like I am Dr. Jane Foster, and at the moment I'm Mighty Thor. Like
Yeah.
don't feel bad for me. I love that. I mean that's a lot of power and agency,
Yeah.
for any character.
Well, doing a lot of the work for as Mighty Thor for Natalie Portman is the blonde wig that she's wearing that whole time. There were a few times when I thought I could see it shifting when she was running around. Yeah. Anyway, so they kiss. The Thor's kiss.
So she got buff for this,
Mhm.
Yeah, her biceps are.
but she also had to look like a cancer patient.
Yeah.
So, like, I
yeah.
had trouble wrapping my head around the time frame. Like, did she get buff first and then she lost a bunch of weight?
Good point.
I
Vice
think
versa.
I think she got buff, and then they CG'd her look a little bit skinnier with makeup and CGI for the cancer stuff.
I'll buy that.
I watched some of the, like, what do they call those? The assembled behind the scenes things.
So short.
She's been in a number of action movies and had never received any action training. This is the first time. She also made a comment that I thought was interesting, that women in movies generally train to appear small. And this is the first time she ever trained to get bigger.
Right.
Which has got to be a cool, empowering thing, you know?
Yeah.
Considering what a badass she is. She's been a
is.
badass since she was a teenager, you know, and since the professional, which has so many
Yeah.
problems. But, you know, like,
yeah, it does. But yeah.
But even her, you know, her video with Andy Samberg where she's like gangster rapping.
Yes, I love
fucking
that.
awesome.
Sit right down on your face and take a shit. I love that song so much. Both versions.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love the Lonely Island rap video so much. Throw it on the motherfucking ground. So anyways, they arrive at the Shadow Realm. They can't find the kids, but Jane sees some drawings that depict Thor's battle axe, Stormbreaker, as a way to summon the Bifrost.
This building? This tent?
Did Gore make the tent?
We never see it from the outside. Is this in the ground?
It's unclear.
Is this on the surface of the Moon of Shame?
Its physical space seems to be very seems to fluctuate and be weird.
It's flapping in the wind. It's made out of canvas. There are refrigerator clear. What do they call those? The things you walk through to go to a walk-in cooler.
Yeah, the little flaps.
There's like weird metallic squares for the first curtain. It's just all curtains.
This was an old research station.
Is this on the surface or is this under the ground? And if it's under the ground, why is it flapping in the wind? I have so many questions about the physical space this place takes up.
I think it doesn't. I think it's part of the Shadow Realm thing where it doesn't take up physical space at all.
Nebulous, yeah.
It's just weird because there's a lot of like practical objects in there.
There are.
Like, like when she's looking, there's like papers on the wall. Like, I like that there are papers on the wall. It's like you find the serial killers.
Right, the Charlie Day.
Yeah.
Like investigation board.
Yes.
and it gave us the quick answer to Zeus's kind of cryptic, oh, he doesn't have the key. And then she realizes like, oh shit, you have the key. We brought it with us. Again, this movie
tosses it out. I love that.
This movie is for kids. It's a kid mystery. You know, this is not an adult-sized mystery.
True.
And the way that they reveal it is a kid-friendly mystery.
Yeah.
Because if I was 13, I'd have thought like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. And they brought it with them. What a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
As an adult, I'm more cynical, I think.
Yeah. As an adult, it's like, well, isn't that convenient?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
As an adult, I'm like, I think I have to pay the electric bills.
Yeah. As an adult, I'm like, I'm glad this is under 2 hours because I can't hold my pee that long anymore.
Because I have things to do.
Natalie Portman throws Stormbreaker away to prevent Gore from getting it. Gore overpowers the group and he's going to kill Jane. He forces Thor to summon it back. Gore does steal Stormbreaker right as they summon the Rainbow Bridge and head back to New Asgard.
So that scene where they are in the black room with the tentacles and everybody's getting choked and then not choked so they can talk and then choked again and then he's like
Why do you have
breathing in
such
their
a hard
mouths.
time with the Shadowrell?
And it's not so much like this. I get this room. It's a dark room. They're all tied to the walls, that kind of thing. That I understand. This scene went on so long.
It did.
Really
this scene
did.
and the boat
scenes.
Yeah.
go on way too long. Like you could have cut 3 minutes out of each of these and given Gore or Natalie Portman the additional 7 minutes they needed.
Well,
Absolutely.
they're
Well, yeah, he had to,
noticeable
like-
because of how short the other scenes are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He had to talk to everybody and personally taunt them.
He had to breathe
Yeah.
their air
Yeah.
for way too long.
Way up close. I'll summon the Bifrost when you summon a dentist.
Yeah, that was good.
But just like to Val, did you pray to the gods when your sisters were dying?
Right.
Then to Jane, the gods will use you, but they will not help you.
So
Right.
You know, he just had individual comments for everybody.
my
Not
question about this
excusing anything, but-
because we didn't get a lot of time establishing Gore traveling the universe, going on a classic Gore adventure. I wish that we had seen him acquiring knowledge. Like, how does he know about Natalie Portman? How does he know about you're a Valkyrie? Like, do they teach you about that on that desert planet where you almost
I was just
going
gonna say that's
Yeah.
a great point because there's no
Like-
real civilization on this planet. So obviously his kid was homeschooled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did he find a book in space about
That's
the
the
Valkyrie
problem.
and Asgardian history? Like, how
You're
did
right.
he know?
Maybe the Necrosword.
How
His
did he
kid was
know
desert
who
schooled.
Asgard's on
desert school?
Like, I would have
We
loved
were all
for
desert schooled.
the Necrosword to talk to him again.
Yeah.
You know,
Know
like, because
anything.
it's whispering to him, like, come and
It does whisper to him.
revenge. But it only whispers to him, and then he gets it, and he kills Rapu, and then
It's a good point.
we're off.
I'm sure
would have
there
helped
was-
So some
I'm sure there. I would not be surprised if footage like that existed.
Yeah. I just feel like him having a Willem Dafoe moment with the sword would have been helpful. Like, if you go to New Asgard, there are children there.
Where it's like a
This is the whole plan. If you run into the Valkyrie, they're formidable opponents. Like,
right.
He's got
having the
necro
sword tell him.
Yeah.
He's got the sword propped up on a chair.
You,
Smashes it on a dumpster.
so yeah, they head back to New Asgard where Jane collapses. There, Thor discovers that Jane's body, that Mjolnir is sucking her life force. Jane
She's
is,
dying of sadness.
yeah, she's
Right. But like Al's the point that if they had just said that it clears your body of the radiation. You know, chemo's intense, evasive chemical therapy.
yeah.
That makes so much sense that it would burn that out of you.
The hammer purges your body of all toxins.
Yeah, makes so much
Purifies
sense.
you.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, it's sucking your life force, which works. You know, it
It's
works in these terms, but it's like, God, the other explanation would have taken
it's-
just as long.
It's cool that the comics are so on point, even when they're talking about magical things, so
Right.
on point to explain the science.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
They connect the dots with the made up science every time. Absolutely.
That's one part, yeah, where this movie struggles.
Mhm.
Because it could just use one or two lines and we'd be so much further ahead of the
Yeah,
movie.
like you said, where did he acquire his knowledge? If it was the Necrosword, fine, because we do know it whispers to him, but just would have helped instead of, because I'll bet it was written in that we saw Gore go after different
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's
heavenly beings.
a moment
Oh,
in the
yeah.
behind the scenes where Christian Bale says there's a lot of stuff where I think we went too far that definitely just didn't make it into the movie because I think we went too far with the scariness.
Right.
There's, Taika Waititi famously has said he doesn't believe in director's cuts, but I'd really like to see the 2.5 hour cut of this movie. That was,
I would love, the
I mean-
epic story of Gore
Because
killing
Butcher
3 or
isn't
4
a
other
designation.
gods.
It's not just like killer or Gore the Maniac or Gore, a butcher.
Mhm.
Butcher cuts doesn't just
It's methodical.
kill. It's methodical. Cuts it up pieces.
I do
It's
love
intense.
so it's a little obscured because of the blood being golden, but how bloody that scene in Omnipotent City actually is with the
Yeah.
and there's a point even when they get back to New Asgard, Val is still covered in god blood. Like
Right.
It was a cool choice.
Thor's got some god blood on him still. Too.
yeah.
It's not unlike Wanda killing all the Ultron drones and being covered in oil
Yeah.
instead of blood.
Mhm.
Good point.
Yeah, so all right.
It goes back to the Hitchcock Hershey syrup. There
Yep.
were colorized films for 30 years.
Yep.
I just love it.
Yeah. So Thor convinces Jane to stay there in the hospital so that she can survive, so he can come back and they'll find her a cure. He goes back to he travels
Valkyrie's lost a kidney.
Yeah.
That's why she can't go.
Yeah.
Just low key cash.
Yeah, I'd go with you, but I'd probably die.
I just lost a kidney. Fucking walked it off like a soccer injury.
Okay, so here's an unanswered question. We're back on the planet Earth.
Mhm.
Yes.
You're dropping off your girlfriend, your best fighting pal
In New Mexico.
from New Mexico. Why not just go get Bruce?
Hmm.
You know, why not just go get the little tiny Ant-Man? Why not go get Rhodey?
Yeah.
Or the
bet-
bow and arrow guy with the mohawk.
Yeah, can
You know-
gamma radiation kill cancer? I bet.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
no,
not
but
even
to go
for-
fight Gore.
To go fight Gore. He's like,
Oh,
I'm going
right.
to go get the kids and kill him myself. Like, that's not going to work.
I think it's the discussion we had with Wanda. They're just scattered. They're disparate. They
But
don't think about
I
it.
assume that the two,
Horsemen, galaxies.
particularly Bruce and him, keep in touch because they have
Yes.
so much of a bond since the last movie. And it would have been really fun and fucking crazy for
It's true, and we
that
do
to
have
have
clues
been
that
part of the movie.
Yeah.
we do have clues that Bruce has been keeping track of things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
almost in a way that Nat did.
I absolutely believe that Thor would be able to find Bruce within
Yeah.
minutes or hours.
Or he could say the words, "Hey, Doctor Strange, will you help me?" And Doctor Strange will magically appear.
The matter for the gods.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. It is a God problem.
He didn't even want Jane going.
Why didn't he call Jesus?
To be his
Buddha,
co-pilot.
Satan, anybody.
To be his co-pilot.
Goes and gets the Pope, brings him with him. It's like,
Goes and
you
gets
speak for God, right?
Yeah, I'm
That's the
assembling a
closest thing on
team. Putting together a team. I want Vin Diesel, the Pope.
The Pope is like, consider this your bris. Like, that's Jewish.
That's true. Yeah, you're
God.
assembling a fantasy superhero league.
Yeah, I mean,
Or the
there's a lot of
Pope.
superheroes on Earth. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you're right.
We're back on Earth before he leaves to go to the center of the universe.
I mean, I think that's just, it's a unthought about element that is like the comic books.
Yeah.
What are other people doing?
Yeah,
But I also think it's, he could have called the Guardians as well. But it's a matter for the gods. He doesn't want anyone dead.
Okay.
Like I said, he doesn't even want Jane to go. And it's the cancer, but it's also the you don't have it in you. Like a god has to kill this guy.
yeah. He is a God-killing machine himself, Thor.
Right.
Zeus told
That's
him
true.
in Omnipotent City, Asgardian problems are Asgardian problems. And he might have taken that to heart.
That's been the whole universe's attitude. I think Thoreau said it earlier. Like they get shit on a lot, but that's been the going. Like that's your problem.
Well,
That's your problem.
Zeus's point was like, I'm a Greek god. I take care of the Greeks.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have our own thing. We have our own place. We have our own people
And
Our
it's a
economy is
response-
that we don't take care of.
The economy
Dealing
is
with
in
inflation.
shambles.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we created democracy, we sort of coasted. But it's in response to the children thing. So it's not even response to Gore. Gore's everyone's problem, but they're like, he stole the next generation of Asgardians. Well, that's your problem.
Mm.
Make more.
That's the Trump plan.
But I love that they're there to talk about the orgy. I might have stepped away from that, but it's just great. That's the meeting. Like hero-gasm.
So Thor goes back to Eternity's altar, where he finds Gore using Stormbreaker to open the doorway to Eternity. Using Zeus's Thunderbolt, he imbues the children for a limited time only with the power of Thor to fight his monsters while he battles Gore. And here's where we get the November rain needle drop.
It works.
You are muted.
There's
Brian.
that one little girl that just has the fairy wand. Like
So,
which was adorable.
Each of the
Velveteen
kids
Rabbit.
has their object, and people have said, like, well, how come Thor didn't do this before in earlier movies? Thor never had Zeus's lightning bolt. That's
right, it
why
was
he
the
was able to do
combination.
it.
It was that and Stormbreaker. Yeah, he just had that power.
Yeah,
because Zeus can do that. Obviously, Zeus is powerful. He's more than
than your
you can't kill him.
average
Obviously,
guy.
or not that easily.
Odin could do that.
Odin could do that. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now Thor, the Odin Force, lives in Thor. I guess if we're getting
Zeus even mentions
booky.
Odin. Since Odin died, like you could tell that also made them losers. Like the leader of your gods died. So fuck you guys. You're not that.
Do you think Zeus was
badass.
like, he was always getting sleepy and shit?
That's an interesting angle for them to approach.
Fava beans.
Did
and a
their
nice
relationship is that the other gods don't have those cycles, whereas the Asgardians have that Ragnarok cycle of death and rebirth.
Right.
Did
They're very
Odin
human
die
gods.
of sadness?
It seemed like it.
It's kind of seemed like it, yeah.
Because he wasn't killed in battle. He was just like, I'm out.
He was just like, I'm going to turn into glitter. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, they set a timer. They set an egg timer, and it went off. I guess.
I mean,
that's just
kind
the
of
cycle.
Kind of like
that's kind of it. Yeah.
Kind of like the Sam Neill version in the play was. He was kind of like, it's like, it's time for me to go. I'm turning into glitter. And by the way, your sister's the goddess of death.
And and it was my existence that kept her locked away.
Goodbye.
Well, why not have a backup plan? Why not and now tie that spell to Thor's life?
Yeah, and even though he seems sort of mimbo-y sometimes, he's an educated guy. Like,
he's smarter than most humans.
He can speak brute. He could, like he took a lot of classes. So it's funny that he didn't know that the goddess of death was trapped under Asgard and would be released when his dad dies. Like it's like the Heimdall thing. Just one passing conversation would have helped all of us a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they fight. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Jane senses that Gore's going to kill Thor. Gore's getting the drop on him, so she joins the battle with Mjolnir to save him. They destroy the Necro Sword, freeing Gore from its influence. But then the three of them are brought into Eternity's realm, and the kids rainbow bridged back to Earth.
I like how they destroyed the sword. Because it wasn't just her showing up and fighting at Thor's side and they defeat him. If he hadn't shown up, or if she hadn't shown up, there would have been no way to destroy the sword.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mjolnir shatters it, but then Gore is able to call the hilt, and then the pieces are coming back to the hilt.
Shadow, yeah.
But she wraps it up in the shards of Mjolnir, and then destroys Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
To destroy the pieces within.
Or just hammers it really hard on the ground. I don't think she destroyed Mjolnir because we see Mjolnir again.
Because yes, Mjolnir does come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead, Thor. We're not there yet.
Oh yeah. So all right. They are in Eternity. Gore's about to make his wish. Thor suggests to Gore that he brings back his daughter instead of destroying all the gods. That's
what you really want, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Thor choose love instead of death. Thor leaves Gore to make his decision and spend his last moments with Jane, who dies of cancering. She cancers out. I mean, it was a very. I mean, what's the?
And she turns into glitter.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, she glitters away.
Godly Stardust.
And they said all the things they needed to say to each other before she dies. So now Thor is like intact emotionally, finally, I guess.
I mean, I guess for the first time ever, because in the first Thor movie, he was a petulant child, and then he was into Jane, but still trying to figure out the shit with his family. And then he was a destroyed man, and then he's finally put back together.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that had not been the case, it would have been really lame for her to die saying, I love you to each other in his arms. But since this is the fourth movie, like it was almost overdue, which is cool.
Yeah, we've all said it before, but Thor's arc throughout the MCU is, I think, the single most satisfying character thing the MCU did, period.
He literally goes through each stage of grief. Like textbook psychological, yes, it's incredible. And I like that, I'm not a parent, but you can't really be sad and depressed, right? You don't have that luxury, grief. Without children around, you can take the time to grieve, be in your Lebowski robe and all that shit. But he has her now.
Mm-hmm.
He can't, even though they reconciled before Jane died, he can't even really mourn her because he's got a kid.
It does not matter how you feel. Every day you have to get up and get that kid dressed and feed them.
Right.
Every fucking day.
You have to live. So he's living for her like Thor did.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's pretty.
It's funny that you point out dressing and feeding, because that is the role
that's what we see him
has. He's literally telling her to put shoes on and eat.
The way that scene is what made me know that like parents made this film, because that is it doesn't matter what you did, what you're feeling, what's happening inside you. It doesn't fucking matter.
Who you lost.
You dressed and you had a shitty night. You and your spouse got in a big fight. None of that fucking matters. You dress them, you feed them, you get them to school, you put them in front of fucking dinosaur train for an hour. Like you take care of those kids.
You don't have the luxury
of
being introspective.
The breakfast scene, he serves her pan flaps and she says, I don't think I like pan flaps. And I immediately thought of that Hellboy story about the Pam cakes.
Yeah.
I swear they borrowed that. They must have read that.
But that is the biggest kid bullshit thing ever. I don't like this food. Really? You liked it yesterday.
Right. Or you haven't had it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And this
I don't think I like it. I've never had it.
Right. You don't know, you little idiot.
It's delicious.
But Andrea pointed something out. Just like we learned in the movie Face Off, if you want your mortal enemy to raise your child, it just takes a knowing look.
It does.
Just
your mortal enemy.
Hand.
Yeah. Not your friend. That makes sense. For your mortal enemy to raise your child.
I will say Christian Bale deserves some credit for that, though, because in that moment, he acts it really well.
Yeah.
To like take care of her, and you just get the nod. Because they could have really overdone that. That could have been super overcooked. And like, thank you for changing my mind. And isn't she incredible? Like, no, nobody needs to know that. Like, save that for the next movie.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And just subtly realizing that all of his vengeance didn't serve his daughter.
Yeah.
Like sacrificing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, his daughter comes back. Gore dies. And we get an end of movie denouement montage narrated by Korg. The children are in New Asgard. Valkyrie and Sif are training them. There's a monument to Jane built there. Thor adopts the child. They travel the galaxy, eating pan flaps. Thor wields Mjolnir. She wields Stormbreaker. We can see she has powers, superpowers. Assume
she shoots purple lasers from her eyes.
And those little like tattoos appear, or those little like they're scar tattoos.
Yeah,
the same markings
Thor had. Yeah. People or something.
Did we comment on her reflection in the Eternity Chamber, or whatever space that was? When she approaches Gore, she is reflecting the stars that eternity had embodied within them. So she is
Yeah.
technically born of
Part of that.
eternity, is how they described it.
Yeah.
So
The Young
it'll be
Avengers
interesting.
are going to be something.
It's gonna be bonkers, man. Having this
These
kid,
are powerful beings.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And fingers crossed, the two Maximoff kids too.
Right.
Like if we get a full roster, it'll be
Is
really fun.
Ms. Marvel, Kamala.
Yeah.
They're already so much more powerful than Kang,
Absolutely.
minus Crossbow and Sneaky Girl. It will be very fun. There'll be the adults on the team.
And Hulk's.
Oh yeah,
son. I don't know.
Hulkling.
Oh God.
Yeah, Hulkling.
His fucking haircut. in
Hulkling,
that
no, Hulkling was not related to Hulk in any way.
That's right. Yeah, or what? No, Hulkling
Scar
is Cho's kid, Helen Cho's kid, right?
He had
Maybe
wings
that-
and everything, didn't he?
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different Hulkling. Anyway,
This is Scar.
yeah, Scar is different from because I'm
That's
thinking of
Hulk's,
Helen
like,
Cho
son.
from
like Hulk
Age of
banged-
Ultron.
Well,
had
Hulk
the
banged a
young-
lot of Sicarian women.
Yeah,
Are led to believe.
So when Love and Thunder joined the battle, I loved that Thor gives the tiny child the giant axe.
Yeah.
Stormbreaker.
He loves me.
Like, yeah, he loves
Well,
Mjolnir.
you have to be worthy of wielding Mjolnir, and that's the question we'll get for this kid.
Yeah.
Because if she starts worthy, she has to stay worthy.
Yeah.
If she doesn't get it at some point, she'll have to wield it to prove that she's worthy
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
But you're right, because Stormbreaker is a little wonky.
Yeah.
Because he was created whole cloth, whereas Mjolnir.
But it's almost as
From
big as
them.
she is.
I know.
I know.
love it.
It's so cute. It's so cute. And so, yes, so presumably she also has super strength. She can jump like Thor. Like, yeah. She's
And I love the like Western moment where they're like high on a ridge. You know, like which ones?
Yeah.
Those
and
are
I
the
like
nice ones. Those are the, how black and white, but still fun.
The 1-bedroom apartment opens up.
Yeah.
And you realize it's a spaceship.
Mhm.
Like, you think, like, where are they living? Huh, that's kind of
No,
cool.
he's still a guardian of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just flying around having adventures. Him, Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
I hope that they arrive together the next time we see Thor.
Absolutely.
I hope
If
so.
they skirt
have to,
around
right?
the existence of this kid,
She's
it'll
with
be
the
really,
babysitter.
yeah.
Did we get a Thor?
right.
Will return.
They're
at the end
really
of this?
close.
Yes, it did say Thor Wolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
What?
They're really close. I mean, it's Chris's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like-
It'll be easy to make
She'll
sure
be
she's
easy
there.
to sign.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see if she continues to play.
Oh, definitely
in-
not going to continue playing that role.
Yeah.
Who knows?
She'll be aged up to a teenager, and by the next time we see her, I'm
That's
sure.
true. We're on our third Cassie Lang, so
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways, in a mid-credit sequence back in Omnipotent City, Zeus we are
Also Pawn.
calls Hercules Roy Kent to kill Thor.
He's here. He's there.
He's every fucking
where.
where. Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, even in the comics, he was a formidable foe to Thor.
Yeah. And then in a post-credit sequence, Jane arrives at Valhalla, welcomed by Heimdall, and again, Sif's arm is nowhere to be seen.
So I just realized this not too long ago within the course of this podcast. Rapu's eternal reward was false, but Valhalla is real.
Oh, good point.
So some gods are liars.
No, but that's for the gods. No. Jane was
No, it's anybody who dies in battle.
Yeah.
Odin didn't die in battle.
And believes.
He wasn't in Valhalla when she got there, though. Maybe he's not there.
Oh, so I guess the Lord of their gods didn't make it to Valhalla.
They'll probably chalk it up to he was in constant battle with Hela or some crap.
With himself over whether or not he should show up on set that day.
Does internal battle count?
Yeah, I wonder.
Right.
It's like I was trying to lose weight.
Are we going to get Heimdall back? Are we going to get Natalie Portman back? Are we going to get Anthony Hopkins back? That's my question from the existence of Valhalla.
In the comics, when Jane died in her last Thor adventure, she went to Valhalla, and having earned Odin's respect, was resurrected.
Mm.
Later became a Valkyrie herself.
But
yeah, we could get Jane Foster back in the
But it is
quote
funny.
real world.
I mean,
Like Thoreau said, what are the gods? Because some heavenly places you can travel to and from,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem like you can Valhalla. Like that's where you go.
that's
like
where you go
mystical-
when you're dead.
mystical realm.
But yeah, but also
But other places, not necessarily.
on a completely meta level, I got real Harrison Ford vibes from Natalie Portman's appearance in this film. Like, I'll show up, but I have to die, and then I don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Right.
But also leaving the door
I hope
open
so.
for the possibility of a return, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yes, Kang.
Because it's a comic book movie.
I mean, Kang can bring anyone back and send anyone away.
The moment anyone said multiverse, everybody's on the table all the time, everywhere.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a sort of an important thing about Gore in the comics. Thor had to use 2 Mjolnirs to destroy the God Bomb from 2 different universes, from 616 and 1610. So yeah, like the multiverse was going on in this whole Gore epic in the comics as well.
Yeah, it's going to be used to explain things from now on. Thoreau's, I mean, right?
Yeah.
What's the answer? Multiverse.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that is the movie. Final thoughts.
I feel like we covered them. For me, personally.
I like this a lot. I enjoyed it. I think if I had been 13 years old, this would have been my favorite movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Well,
with
if this came
all
when
of
I was
the other,
13, oh shit, yeah.
every other Avengers movie had come out, this probably would have been my favorite thing at 13. You know,
It carried on the fun.
yeah, just the jokes.
I remember before I saw it, one of my coworkers was saying, "If everything's a joke, then nothing's funny," which can be true.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
I mean, adage.
Yeah,
But
people with cancer are hilarious. Though.
And having watched this movie, it's like, yeah, there are a lot of jokes, but not everything's a joke. This,
No, it's not all a
this
joke.
is a serious movie.
Yeah, it
They
has.
gave a character cancer, and she died
Yeah.
of cancer.
And she died of that cancer.
There was no magic at the end. It's same with T'Challa. He died of natural causes in that movie, and yeah, it's not all a joke.
No, it's
But
not.
Thank you, Jennifer. Something hyphen something.
I think I'm not generally for movies being longer, but I really do think that this movie suffered from having to like cut
Cutting
it down
room
to
floor.
its bone.
And this isn't the
agree.
only one, I think, in the last 4 MCU movies that has suffered from time restrictions.
Yeah,
Because I'd say the same thing about Doctor Strange. Even that last Spider-Man movie could have used another 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree. I don't mind the length of movies. I understand from a stuffed suit executive point of view, but I'm with you. Give me more. I'm already in the seat.
Yeah.
Just fucking give me some more.
I mean, I'm of a few minds because generally, like, I think a movie should like under 2 hours. Thank you. Fuck yes.
Oh man, 110-minute movie is the perfect thing.
But also,
I don't mind.
But also,
I'm invested.
I feel like at this point, this isn't a movie in the sense that like it's the ongoing adventures of this universe. It's basically serials. It's
That's how I feel. It's like the Ant-Man
Yeah.
thing. Like I haven't seen it yet, but I know it sets up stuff, and maybe it's not the best one, but that's we're moving things along. We're in a universe.
At this point, it's the stories we're watching.
Yeah.
It. Like our
It's the days of our lives for adults and children.
yeah.
Well, or you're telling me John Wayne and Clint Eastwood didn't make the same fucking movie over and over and over again. So
what's
shut up.
interesting is I saw recently a chart of the number of westerns made from the 20s through the present, but it was really interesting to see its peak in the 40s and its slow fall throughout the 50s and 60s into the 70s. I think superhero movies have a very similar trajectory happening.
Yeah, because it's easily fantasized. It's easy, that celebrating that manifest destiny, and that it's a weird form of patriotism. That's why they were so big post-war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, superhero movie is a genre. It's not.
Yes.
It's not a kind of action movie. It's not a kind of sci-fi movie. It's a genre in and of itself, and it's going to follow the same trajectory as other genres do of popularity.
We've talked about that many times because obviously these are films and not comic books, but we have to talk about the comic books because it's like a Western. It has to fit in these conventions because that's the genre that it is. Like if you're going to have the DeLorean show up in Stagecoach, I don't know.
Yeah.
You fit in the conventions of that genre, so you're absolutely right. Yeah. It's totally a genre.
So, yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see where it goes over the next 10 years and what eventually supplants it as the most popular form of film.
But you're right, like Westerns, that manufactured sort of patriotism, sort of, American exceptionalism.
Yeah.
He's Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Superman. Yeah. Like, I care about everybody, but I really care about these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, you guys ready to rank it?
Let's try.
So we have Ragnarok at number 9.
I like Ragnarok more, but that's just me.
I agree. I think Ragnarok's a better movie. And I found it more satisfying in general. I do appreciate the weirdness in this. This is a weirder movie than Ragnarok was, and it had single moments that I think were more interesting than some of the single moments in Ragnarok, but I personally think Ragnarok was a much better movie.
I do too. I like it around the 2 Guardian movies. Maybe it's because it has the Guardians, but it's that level of fun. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's like The Winter Soldier is a different kind of movie. That's almost a Tom Clancy movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I can see it in that area. I definitely, I think anywhere between this we have Winter Soldier at 12. We've got Far From Home at 19. I think somewhere in that area is my personal range.
That's mine as well. I say 13 or 15. That's my point. Bowing out.
I can dig that.
Al, thoughts?
Wow. Staring at those that Spider-Man block.
It's funny, we've got 3 blocks right there. We've got the Guardians block, the Batman block, and the Spider-Man block.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite comic book movies, but I don't know. Brian, you have to go somewhere. Where do you want to put it?
I say we put it below Far From Home.
Put it right there at number 20, right below
the Deadpool
Spider-Man
movies are fun, but I like this more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Deadpool movies a lot. That's rough.
I like those a lot too, but I don't know.
This was more fun than the Batman to me, but the Batman's more of a film. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like what Brian said at number 20, below Far From Home. This
is one of the lowest ranked MCU movies as far as fans are considered too, and I love that we're not putting it at the bottom.
Only Eternals and Quantumania have lower Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah. Where is Eternals?
Well, wait,
Eternals we've got down here 33.
Oh, 33? Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
20 is good for me.
I like 20. All right, let's do it. We are putting Thor: Love and Thunder at number 20. in between Spider-Man Far From Home and Deadpool 2. So that's that. That is it for Thor then, which means it is time to look forward to next week. And next week on Harmless Phosphorescence, we will be watching and discussing Black Adam. Yes, indeed. The final screen appearance of Henry Cavill as Superman.
The fanboys are suing Warner Brothers.
They have been for... Wait, they're literally suing Warner Brothers?
Yes, there's a collective, like, what do they call those, civil action suits or whatever?
A class action?
Class action. Because of the Henry Cavill cameo in Black Adam and knowing that he's not coming back. So they're trying to use some
okay,
sort of a false advertising clause. We'll see if the judge hears it.
I thought they were upset because the power dynamic shifted in the DC universe.
They're trying to
what's his face?
Catch James Gunn in some sort of technical loophole to make Henry Cavill stay Superman.
Like, guys, that's not how this
Not how Hollywood works at all.
Yeah, it's like, even if you win the case, I'm not casting.
Oh my god.
We'll put in a picture of him. How about that?
I mean, if that's the case, then we've got there's a lot of movies from a lot of years that promised sequels that did not.
Your Honor, I call Brandon Routh instead.
Yes.
Can we just put in a picture of Henry Cavill as The Witcher, but it's signed Superman?
But it's best wishes, Superman. Stay off drugs.
There's
Superman.
I've seen a picture. There's a picture of Spock signed by Mark Hamill out there that I've seen on the internet. That's amazing.
I love that.
It says "Live long and prosper, Luke Skywalker."
That's hilarious.
Anyways, so that is next week on Harmless Phosphorescence. Until then, this is your host, Thorough Smiley, and oh look, you see, it's happening. I'm disappearing.
I'm Josh Cece, and I'll meet you at the International House of Pan Flaps.
I'm Brian Lesh, and I'll eat pan flaps that Thor makes any day.
Catchphrase. I'm Alaric Weber.
Yes. You're all invited to the orgy. Bye.
Will there be pan flaps?
The orgy?
You know
I hope so. If there's not pan flaps, it's not the kind of orgy I want.
Yeah, you got a carbo load if you're in it to win it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.